Welcome to the Waiting Warriors podcast. As loved ones of first responders and military personnel, we often face life situations and challenges that many others don't experience. And while each of us and our experiences are unique, together we can learn from one another and become stronger in this journey of life. Now let's step out of mediocrity. It's time to thrive. Hi everybody, this is Michelle Bowler and welcome to the Waiting Warriors. I am super excited for today's episode. We have Megan Duesterhaus. If you do not know who she is, you really need to hop on your computer like right now as you're listening to this and look up the homes I have made. So welcome, Megan.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So let's dive right into it. Will you, how about you start by telling us about your family?
Okay. I am one part of a 4-person military family. My husband is a U.S. Marine, and he and I have been married for, what year is it?
2018?
So we're going on almost 14 years. Is that right?
Nice.
And no, 13 years, sorry. And we have a 6-year-old son named Henry and a 1-year-old son named Sam. And we are currently living in San Diego, California.
That's my hometown.
We lived here before. This is our 7th stop in our military journey. So we have lived overseas in Okinawa, Japan. We've lived here in San Diego twice. We've lived in Quantico, Virginia, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and before coming here, we lived in Leavenworth, Kansas. So, that's our little family in a nutshell.
Awesome. So one thing I really love to talk about is what I think is super important for self-care. And so I'm curious what you and your spouse do for self-care.
So when he's home or when he's not home?
Both. Because you have a lot of experience with both.
We do have lots of experience with both. When he is home, we can be a little old-fashioned, I think. We, at certain times in our lives, have taken ballroom dance lessons, and we can often be found around our kitchen table playing games such as Rummy Cube or Scrabble, or even kind of quick little card games. We're big game players, so we will often kind of turn off the TV and the phones and just him and I, and then now as our older son is getting older, kind of bring him into games too. But that is something that we have done for years, even through dating and now as a family, is just kind of game nights. I think we both grew up doing that. So that's a big part of our family life. And we both kind of have theatrical backgrounds. His is in theater and mine is in dance. So we are kind of a song and dance family. You can find us literally dancing to soundtracks and movies after dinner and that kind of thing, just to kind of get some wiggles and sillies out. And we just kind of like to move our bodies and raise our voices a lot around here. So when he's home, I think that's generally how we like to feed our souls. When he is gone, it's certainly more difficult. And we are learning and have learned that every separation, every deployment brings unique challenges. So there's some times where we're more connected than others.
Right.
As much as possible. There's been times where we can communicate a lot. There's times where we can't communicate a whole lot. It's not something that we excel at all the time, but I think just keeping aware of what each other needs, whether we need more communication or more, I guess, like points of connection throughout the day, even if they're not super meaningful conversations or super meaningful emails, just kind of frequent contact whenever it's possible. I think we try to, when possible, if one of us needs the other and we're able to get on the phone or able to get on chat, to just to drop everything and be there. There have certainly been some times on our most recent separation where he's needed to talk or I've needed to talk, and we've done our best to talk, even if it means we're in the middle of running kids to school and carpool and that kind of thing, of just making sure we're emotionally available to each other whenever possible.
Yeah.
My husband is really, really good at thoughtful gestures. So he's really good at sending flowers on Valentine's Day and Christmas. And even though they're maybe a little expected now because he's just always been so good at that, it's
you set the bar high.
I think I would be more shocked if he didn't send something, which speaks a lot of him. But I think even though they're expected and I know they're coming, they're still just really nice, right? They're still just nice to know that when he's on the other side of the world, he's still thinking about me and thinking about us and our relationship. And I unfortunately am not the greatest at mail. So I have tried really hard to just embrace the mechanisms that we have, such as sending videos and pictures just as much as I possibly can, because getting care packages together is not my strong suit, and he knows that and accepts it. So I try to make up for it in other ways, whether it's sending him little anecdotes, via text or email, and then trying to capture as much as I can via picture or phone to send through to him.
But I like that though, because that's just you playing to your strengths. And I think it's good for us to remember that even though it's super hard and there are so many things for us to do, that doesn't mean we have to do everything. Because I could see myself getting really overwhelmed with making care packages too. Because right now I'm in a phase where I really, really hate going to the store with the kids by myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, as much as I would want to go and get all these cute, fun things for him, I seriously just dread taking my kids to the store right now. And I think it's just kind of a phase that I'm in right now. But I like what you say though, because there are different ways that we can still show we're thinking about him and loving on him. Yeah,
I think I admittedly would kind of beat myself up quite a bit that I know other spouses were sending pretty extravagant things. And I will admit I'm horrible with timing packages for birthdays or Christmas. I think he got a Christmas package like mid-January. Like I'm just not great at it. And I think there's a part of me that's like, come on, he's far away doing a really hard job. I need to get my act together. But I also think there's grace on this side as well. And I am doing the absolute best I can. And he knows that. So I think just making it count when we can get one put together and putting in things that I have a hard time sending junk that I know is just going to kind of get tossed aside or left behind. So I try to make the package, when I do send something, I try to make it as meaningful and special as I possibly can. But I think this is our third very long deployment, and we've done lots of little mini separations. I think we are at a stage right now that we know, I think we've kind of accepted that we're not going to be our most connected right now. And that is a season of life. We are comfortable enough in our marriage to know that when he returns, we will find ourselves reconnected with some work, and that, we will find ourselves back into a more connected place. And that right now we're just living two very, very separate lives. And sometimes the effort in trying to remain present in each other's lives fully while you're apart can be exhausting and can sometimes not be overly healthy. If I'm trying to spend all of my time keeping him appraised of what's going on here, and he's trying to spend all of his time appraised of what's going on there, we're kind of not present in our lives. So I think we've kind of found ourselves at a place in his career and in our military journey that this is just a season of life in our marriage, and we're not overly connected and we're not overly in sync, but it will come to an end and we will come back together just as we have every time. So I think we're learning to kind of show ourselves grace, that we don't have to stress ourselves out remaining perfectly connected and perfectly in sync and perfectly on the same page, and that it's okay to live our separate lives, not separate, but to go on and live our lives as best we can while we're apart, and then we can come back together.
Yeah, I really love that. I don't think I had thought of it exactly that way, but I think that's a really, really important point, just because I think that helps you accept the military life a lot more, because you've accepted that there are ebbs and flows to it. There will be times where he's around more and it will be awesome, and you'll have that connection in the optimal amount of time. But I think that's a really amazing point, an important point to accept the ebbs and the flows of it.
Yeah, I think when we were younger, I think there was this desire and this pressure and this expectation that our marriage will remain a constant, right? Whether he's here or not. And that's just not realistic. If someone is not in your life on a day-to-day basis, your relationship is not going to stay the same. That is just a reality. And I think we found ourselves stressing ourselves out, trying to maintain a certain level in our relationship when we were far apart and both going through a lot of stress. And so I think deployments have seasoned us and time has seasoned us that, we have a very strong marriage. So there's no concern that we won't be able to come back together even stronger. So I think we're just a little more comfortable now saying, okay, like this is a season of our life where we're apart and our marriage is just going to kind of simmer below the surface in some ways, well, until we kind of can come back up for air and keep swimming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so what do you guys do to stay connected as a family with all the distance?
So I think one of the biggest things we do for him is to send lots of pictures of even just really mundane things. So, we have a 1-year-old baby, so every day is something new, right? So just not trying to take those for granted and make sure that I mention or send pictures kind of evidence of new milestones as much as I possibly can. And we try to just send him thoughts and texts. My 6-year-old loves to get on the phone and just text him a bunch of emojis and just to let him know that we're thinking of him. I think one of the biggest things there's 2 big things that come to mind as far as us staying connected as a family. We do a Sunday FaceTime. Technology these days certainly allows us to communicate every day, right? Like we can text and we can talk if we wanted to. We have found that day in, day out communication is not only unnecessary, at least for our family, but it can be a little burdensome, right? To have to sit down at the end of the day, or maybe in the middle of your day, or an awkward part of your day because of time changes and work schedules and that kind of thing, to then have to rehash everything that's going on can be really exhausting.
Yeah.
And so kind of part of our way of kind of each kind of just moving on and living our lives is that we have a once a week FaceTime session where we put him up on the television and we all sit on the couch and we tell funny stories, and he can see the kids being silly and misbehaving, and he can kind of be part of our family time on a Sunday afternoon. It's a time that works really well for his schedule, and it's a time that works really well for our schedule. So we can just kind of coexist as a family via technology. And that's been working really, really well versus trying to, do a quick, hurried conversation every day. And we certainly text back and forth every day, but we save meaningful conversations and updates for kind of that once a week chat. And then the other thing we use a lot, and I don't know how widespread available it is to all service members, but we've now used it on 2 deployments, is the United Through Reading program through the USO, where the service member can record reading books in front of a video device of some sort. I'm not sure what they use, a computer probably now, but and then the USO packages up the recordings of dad reading books, and then they send the books with the recording to the kids. And they are huge for my son. They were on both our 2 long deployments. I mean, when a package of books comes, my son cannot wait to sit down and read books with dad. So I think beyond just obviously the FaceTime, they don't have, I feel like, as much awe-inspiringness to them. I don't know how else to say it, because we do see him weekly, right, via FaceTime. But I think there's just something about knowing that he took his time out of his schedule to sit down and read books and chat about what he's doing. Just, it means a lot to me as a mom and a wife. It means a lot to my kids. We pull these videos out all the time, whether he's home or not. Yeah. So I think I have told a lot of fellow spouses that if your deployed spouse is in a place where they have United Through Reading, to have them do it, because it really is an amazing program for the kids, and our family has really benefited greatly from it.
I know the last time that my husband had to be gone, and I have 3 little girls, and we didn't have the USO, but he just recorded himself reading some stories. And even now that he is home, it's just in the middle of the day, even, just daddy's at work. It's, hey, I want daddy to read me a story. And so we whip them out all the time.
Yep. When my son was younger, that it kind of alleviated the bedtime reading routine in some ways, because when you're on your own and you're doing dinner and bath and books and cleanup and nighttime stories and everything else, it's kind of nice to be able to put on a DVD of daddy
so nice.
Reading a book while you can do the dishes. So I think however you do it, it's really a valuable, I think, for the family.
Super awesome. Okay. We have to talk more about the homes I have made. So for those of you who are listening who don't know, Megan has an amazing blog, and she's on Instagram. I haven't even checked anything else. Are you on?
I'm on everything else, but I will say, I'm a busy mom.
Right.
A busy blog, life is just busy. So my social media presence is probably somewhere where I struggle a little bit. I am on my blog 2 times a week, which I know is kind of old fashioned, but that's where I like to be. And I do post when I post a new post to the blog, I do post it on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Instagram, on Twitter. So I'm everywhere, but I am most present probably on my blog and on Instagram are my two main.
Awesome. So it's simply just thehomesIhavemade.com. Really amazing stuff. Yep. So tell us what give us a better idea of what it is, how it got started, and all that fun stuff.
So it is exactly what it sounds like. The Homes I Have Made started as a way to chronicle all of our different places that we've lived, not necessarily from a scrapbook family blog chronicle, but literally from here are the ways I have created a home in each house or condo or apartment that we have lived in throughout our military journey as a military family. It started at our 3rd duty station right when my son was born. So we were in Quantico, Virginia, and I had gone from being a very busy workaholic, full-time graduate student, working full-time, busy, to suddenly having a brand new baby, finishing grad school and moving and kind of having nothing to do. And I know saying that you have a new baby is nothing to do, but when you're used to working full-time, a brand new baby is kind of nothing to do in the beginning. So I felt really, really lost. And it was kind of right around the time when Pinterest was exploding, and I kind of just discovered this world of DIY blogs. And for a long time, my background is actually in health and fitness. And for a long time, my husband encouraged me to start a health and fitness blog, but it just never really resonated with me. But I almost in an instant, I can literally remember the day that it happened. I kind of had this crystal clear vision of how I had a unique niche in the DIY home decor organization community by being a military spouse and having literally to create a home every 1 to 3 years in places that maybe aren't the most beautiful or most desirable, base housing or small apartments living overseas and that kind of thing. So I felt like I really had a unique angle to contribute to the DIY world. And that unique angle is just because you are in a certain spot for just a few years, it doesn't mean it can't look and feel like a home to you. And so I have kind of made it my mission to embrace every house that we're in and put our own unique spin on it and make it look good, but also function really well. Like I try very hard to lay out furniture and install systems that really make the house work for us. And all of this, of course, is within the context of completely undoable, right? Completely removable, completely renter friendly. So I really like to show that no matter how long you're living somewhere, and even if you don't own the house, there are still lots of things you can do to make it feel more like home. And so my blog chronicles not only our homes, like I said, we're now on home number 7. So you can kind of go back and look at all the different homes that we've lived in and what I've done. But it also kind of serves to empower other people that there are lots of things you can do within the confines of your living situation to feel more comfortable in the space that you're in.
Right. And the listeners can't see me, but just the whole time that Megan is talking, I'm just like nodding my head and my eyes are getting bigger and bigger. And I'm just getting so excited because we have, we've been married 5 years, almost 6 years, and we've moved 5 times. And so I know, like, I know the stuck feeling that we can feel when we're moving all the time because you just feel like you can't do stuff. And my eyes and heart and happiness was just all opened up when I found your blog because I thought that, because I was a military spouse, I was going to have to kind of live with that and like that that was going to have to be something that I dealt with of just not always being super happy with my home. But I love that you have given us the tools to create a home because I can do work, but I'm not super creative. But I love that you just have straight ideas and details on how to do different things. So if you are out there listening and are like me and you're just like, I just need some ideas on how to brighten this up, or if you are at all feeling, even if you just are finding yourself feeling a little bit resentful towards your home situation and happy at all, please go check out what Megan is doing because it's a huge game changer.
I really think it is. I think it's been really interesting for me. This is something I've kind of always done. And I think I learned to do it. Our very first duty station was Okinawa, Japan. And we literally got on a plane 2 weeks after we got married and moved over there. And I found myself, my husband deployed almost right away. And I found myself alone in Okinawa, Japan, living off base in this very sterile apartment with not much to my name. And my mom literally said to me, if I send you a sewing machine, will you use it? And I said, yes, I will. And she sent me a sewing machine and I sewed curtains. I slip covered our government issued furniture. I did everything I possibly can. And it changes how you see the outside of your house, right? Like when you feel more comfortable and more at peace where you are living, I feel like you're better able to step outside and really embrace the outside of where you're living. And I can't tell you how many fellow spouses I have had into my house after house after house. And literally it doesn't occur to them to decorate. It doesn't occur to them that there are things they can do. I mean, I think a lot of people know they can paint, right? But there's more that you can do besides paint. And it's been really exciting for me to empower fellow spouses to say, yes, there are things you can do. Now, be prepared. You're going to have to take it all down, and you're going to have to do it over and over and over again. And that can sometimes get a little exhausting. I will admit, like, this is the house that we're in now. I don't want to say I'm losing my steam, but it can get exhausting, right? Like to refigure things out over and over again, and to have furniture that doesn't fit and curtains that aren't long enough. And I think we all get it. But I think I have learned, and the thing I try to communicate to my friends and via my blog, is that it's worth it. It is worth it to rehem your curtains so that they fit your windows, because you will feel so much better at home, and you will learn to be relaxed and feel at home, which will then allow you to go out into your community and feel more at home in your community. So yeah, I think the biggest thing I try to communicate is that you've got permission to do this, right? I think our instinct is it's not worth it. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's all going to come down anyway. Yes, all those things are true. But I also think the amount of peace and comfort that creating a home provides is worth all of those things, is worth all of those inconveniences.
One thing that my husband likes to say is, well, like, as far as, is it worth the money? It's like, well, would you rather pay for this, or would you rather pay for therapy later on?
Yes,
Those might be the options.
I have a post on my site, and you probably have to search for it, but I think it's called, I don't even know what it's called, but I kind of go into this whole concept of when the life out there, right? Like, because I think if you've been doing this long enough, you're going to get stationed somewhere you don't want to be. Right. That's just the reality. And it's happened to us a couple times. And I have found that when the life outside my door is not what I want it to be, when the life inside my door is, it just makes dealing with it all so much easier. And so I think the example I give is when we moved to Kansas, and I will say I love Kansas now, but I didn't want to move there when I first found out we were moving to Kansas. And as awful as the life outside my door felt, when I walked in the door and I saw my striped curtains and my pretty pillows, it just made me feel at home. And it allowed me to really embrace our life in Kansas. So, I always say it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And that's what I will tell the husbands every time. So
awesome. But really, guys, you just need to go check it out. She not only has ideas on how to make your house a home in a rent-friendly way, but she has printables you can buy that are super cute. She has different courses. Like if you are a little money tight and you can't just go buy fun decor things, she has little courses that teach you how to sew simple home decor things, which I think is really awesome. She even has, which I just found today, I can't believe I haven't found it before, and I signed up for it. There is a crash course to your kitchen, Conquer Your Kitchen crash course. And it's like a 5-day series on how to make your kitchen better, which I'm really excited for. So there's a whole bunch of free content. There's things you can buy. It is all around just a super, super helpful place. So you should definitely go check it out. So to finish out, though, I do always like to end with one question. What is your key to thriving that you want to share with Waiting Warriors?
I don't want to sound redundant by saying making a home, but that would be my first answer. But I think part of why I started the blog in the first place is because I needed something. And I think a common thread that I hear when chit-chatting with all of my fellow military spouses, at least, is that we can often feel a little bit like second place in our family, that their careers come first and our careers, if they even exist, certainly come second. And that has certainly been the case in our family. My husband's career drives the bus, and I have had to put my original career on hold, and my blog has become my second career. And there are times where the blog causes me a lot of stress. And there's times where I wish I didn't have, quote unquote, the call of work that pulls me away maybe from our family or the kids. But at the same time, I need something for me in a lifestyle where so much is driven by his career and his choices, and frankly, the choices of the Marine Corps that are made for us. I need something that is mine, all mine, that I can own and work toward and that can come with me. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a job. It can be a hobby. It can be a passion. But I think it's really important to be able to kind of hold yourself up on your own 2 feet when your rock is not there. Having something that feeds your soul, feeds your creativity is really important. So I know a lot of us kind of, I don't want to use the word resort because it's not the right word, but I know a lot of us just kind of fall into the mom role and stay there and say that we're just mom or we're just our husband, spouses. And that's not true. I feel like we can have something that is just ours, that brings us life, brings us joy, that we can cling to when being mom is really hard and when being the spouse is really hard. So I would say to thrive in this type of lifestyle, you've got to have something that really lights your fire that you can cling on to when life is really, really hard.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Megan. I have had just a blast, and I hope this was super helpful for all the listeners. I know it has been really helpful for me. So thank you again, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye. Hey everyone, I have a favor to ask. If you have enjoyed this podcast, can you leave a review and subscribe? I promise it just takes a second and that will help more people find this podcast. Also, I'd love for you to join us in our Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com/thewaitingwarrior, click groups, and then The Waiting Warriors. Until next time, have an awesome day.